Just so you know, I now have a reverb page. This is where I sell some of the old equipment that I've used for videos in the studio here in sunny South London, as well as other kinds of vintage instruments, vintage music equipment, as well as some electrical bits and pieces that I've put together, such as this guitar pedal that I have designed and built myself in my shed in the back garden. Anyway, let's get on with the video. Last year I was looking at some of my mum's old family photographs, and nestled amongst the old pictures of cars where my mum grew up and random camping holidays was this photo. I asked my mum who took the picture, and she said it was her. This really piqued my interest. What surprised me even more was that she said it was taken in Brighton. Well, it turns out that in the opening weeks of 1980, Brighton gained a very unlikely tourist attraction, which bizarrely made the beaches of Brighton awash with visitors in the middle of winter. My name is John and welcome to Plainly Difficult. Today we're looking at the Athina B shipwreck. This video wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for my YouTube, Patreon and Ko-fi members. If you want early access to the channel's videos, then you can from just £1 per month. And as always, the links will be in the pinned comment below. Athina B. Our story, which ended up on the beaches of South England, began on the other side of the world in Hiroshima, Japan, with the construction of a new cargo ship. She started out under the name MS Kojima Maru and was pressed into service from March 1968. She was a pretty unexceptional to the grand scheme world of shipping cargo vessel. She had a weight of 3,468 tonnes, a length of 89 metres, a beam of 12.8 metres and a maximum speed of 12 knots. She was a general cargo ship, and over the years her name would change a couple of times while still under the Japanese flag, taking the names of MS Hongwei in 1973 and MS Nina Pa in 1976. Her third name under the Japanese flag would only last a couple of years until 1979, where she would gain her final name, Athina B. Not only that, but she had also changed flag and port of register to the Greek port city of Piraeus. This life under the Greek flag wouldn't be that long, which leads us onto her final voyage. A fateful journey. It is the 11th of December, 1979, and the Athina B is getting ready to depart the Azores for Shoreham by sea, along the south coast of England, which is around here on a map. She is full to the brim with pumice stones. The journey was not an easy, problem-free one. Now, the following parts about the vessel's issues come from an RNLI website post about the event. The ship had encountered problems with her generator, gyro, compass and radar whilst crossing the Bay of Biscay. Repairs were carried out at La Rochelle in France, and the ship continued on her course towards Shoreham. Upon resuming her journey, she reached just outside Shoreham by sea on the 20th of January 1980. Entry to the harbour had been closed off due to poor weather, equating to force winds of around 7 and 8, forcing her to wait it out. At the time, there were 25 people aboard the ship. As she tries to hold her position, it is found that she's actually floating towards the harbour. The MS Athina's engines had started to fail. The ship was beginning to lose its steerage as well. Her captain sent out for help from the British Coast Guards. The lifeboat, Dorothy and Philip Constance, was dispatched across the harsh weather. The lifeboat successfully reached the ship, and the first two rescue attempts saved 4 lives, including the captain's wife and children. On the second attempt, the lifeboat did receive some damage as it was launched into the air and nearly mounted the ship's deck during the heavy wave and wind. The ship's engines mercifully gave out just enough more power to propel her away from the harbour. Another request for a lifeboat was also sent out by the captain to recover a further 11 crew. During this period, a tug was offered, but the captain refused, hoping that the ship would eventually make it into port under her own power. By the late evening, the Athina B had drifted towards Brighton and was just west of the city's marina. She was low on fuel and almost completely out of control. Seeing the writing on the wall, the Athena's captain sent out a mayday call, which, funny enough, has actually a recording of which still survives. The ship was close to running aground. A lifeboat pulled up aside in the treacherous weather, and the final 10 crew escaped the ran aground vessel, leaving her to the strong winds and tidal waves crashing into the south coast. She had been pushed aground in between the Palace Pier and Brighton Marina, which, when looking at the location on a map, was a miracle it didn't crash into either. The poor weather raged on, crashing the ship around. Eventually she collided with a groiny, breaking her back. Thankfully, no one died, which means I can hit this button. Although many of the ship's crew were transferred to hospital for hypothermia, and also on top of that, a number of Coast Guard workers were injured during the rescue mission. Luck was really on their side, as during the rescue attempts, the lifeboat was at risk of capsizing several times during the heavy winds, which, needless to say, would have resulted very likely in casualties. In total, 2 lifeboats, shore helpers, the tug Meaching, multiple Coast Guard, police and ambulance vehicles, as well as Shoreham Community Centre, was all drafted in to help with the rescue and aftercare for the ship's crew. As the sun dragged up on the 21st of January 1980, the city of Brighton was revealed to have a new residence on the beach. Aftermath. Being on the beach just east of the Palace Pier, just in front of the aquarium, means that, needless to say, many eyes would have fallen upon the large unexpected aquatic structure that had befallen the good people of Brighton on the morning of the 21st of January. Quickly the news spread, and as the day wore on, quite a crowd started upon the beachfront. Visitors surrounding the ship on the beach attempted to tear off mementos from the hull, requiring a cordon to be placed around the perimeter, guarded by local police. An estimated 30,000 people over its total time would visit the ship, which sprouted up a mini economy in the area. One such group of gawping tourists was a group of friends in their early 20s from the bright and sunny part of South London known as New Addington. Anywho, the demand in tourist entertainment even prompted the winter shut down Volks Electric Railway to restart, running up and down the line, varying sightseers between the Palace Pier and the marina. Stalls were set up along the Madeira Drive, which is around here on the seafront, as traders cashed in on the flocks of people drawn in by the wreck. The ship wasn't getting any more structurally sound, being crashed into by the sea every day, and would eventually become a quite serious public health hazard. The ship was declared a complete write-off by its insurers, but before it could be taken away for scrap, it needed to be emptied, which would require removing the heavy cargo, personal items, and toxic fuel, all on the beach surrounded by hundreds of spectators. This was no mean feat. It would take the best part of a month to remove the cargo, with a mobile crane being employed on the beachfront until the 21st of February 1980, where the then much lighter MS Athina was refloated and removed for cutting up around Medway. When it departed Brighton, a Salvation Army band attended to send it off with some music. The shipwreck had become a bit of a winter oddity. It had managed to generate some extra income for the city. The cargo ship's excursion even inspired the name of a fish and chip shop nearby in Brighton. There's also the ship's anchor on display on the beachfront, marking the bizarre time Brighton gained an unexpected winter attraction. The brave actions of the lifeguards was commended, with Shoreham lifeboat coxswain Ken Voice being awarded the RNLI Silver Medal, and other crew members being awarded the RNLI's Thanks to the Institution of Vellum Award. I know this was a slightly shorter than normal video, there wasn't massive amounts of information about it, but sometimes it's fun to cover these oddities of British history, especially the way my mum nonchalantly went, "Oh yeah, we saw a run-aground container ship one afternoon." So that's my video on the Athina B shipwreck. It's going to be a 2 on my scale, and this is what I've got for my root cause analysis card. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments below. This is a Plenty of Thought production. All videos on the channel are Creative Commons Attribution Share Alike licensed. Plenty of Thought videos produced by me, John, in a currently quite mild but nice corner of southern London, UK. And all I have to say is thank you very much for watching, and Mr. Music, can you play us out please?